Razer Nostromo was not, it wasn't using the right profile, and I tried everything I could and it wouldn't work, so I had to restart. Bummer. So hopefully everybody's back. Oh, I am far away. That is because my mic is behind me because I was wrestling with my shit. Sorry. That's not good. How's that? Is that any better? It was, yeah. I'm struggling. It's morning and on the weekend. I'm sorry, guys. It's just I'm a hot mess all the time. All the time. No, I was messing with the computer, so I moved my mic out of the way. Didn't even think about it. I'm very slow. Good evening. Snowmaki, welcome. Okay. So I'm not sure I'm going to stick with this guy. It's just kind of a warm up, I guess. We can do another more sketchies. Just use the color that we've got here. I'll use that purple. Okay. Yeah, hopefully you all are having good weekend times. If it's weekend for you, I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore. I gotta get all comfy because I had to rearrange everything. Bring the mic over here. Ha. Cleaning your mess from the past week? Yeah. It's a day of errands and chores. That's all days off mean as an adult. Well, once I finish up broadcasting on here, I'll probably play some video games for a little while to make up for it. But of course, there's chores to be done. I've been playing Warzone, Call of Duty Warzone, and my single player action these days is Ghost of Tsushima and Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk for days. Smarfy, welcome. Ghost of Tsushima's awesome. Oh, you finished it? Nice. I haven't finished it yet. I'm still, I'm in the middle of the second chunk of Island. Have I had any more thoughts about Patreon? Yes. Basically, things are going to start picking up in January. What I'm going to do, I'm definitely going to have sort of a crit tier. It's basically the thing that I'm not entirely sure about is mentorship stuff. So the crit tier, I think I could probably do right away. I don't know yet what the pricing should be for that because I want it to be available, but at the same time, I don't want to only be doing crits on Twitch. So I got to figure that out. My thinking is whatever the price would be, it would be for one crit a month, just like we were doing before. But other than that, yeah. Still up in the air. You're playing Cyberpunk as well? Nice. It's so good. I'm totally addicted. Everybody get caught up on Mando? Yeah, I saw it yesterday too. So good. You spend an hour making your character. Yeah, me too. And then of course you barely see them. I wanted to play a female, but you couldn't change the size of their genitals, so I was disappointed. Oh, you're watching the second series now, Irina? Oh, awesome. Yeah, I won't spoil it for you. It's great. Actually, I guess if you're already in I didn't like the first couple of episodes very much. They just felt like filler, but I think it rounded out pretty well by the end. The first season is perfect, though. It's very strong. Hmm. Not sure what I'm thinking about here. You can't believe they chose first person? I'm totally fine with the first person. It doesn't bother me. I just I didn't realize that it was first person, and I spent a long time making the character. I'm fine playing first person. I found it in first person very immersive. No, there's not a game of Mandalorian Arena. We're just talking about the show. There should be a game for Mandalorian though. It's kind of crazy there isn't. Kilrathi, welcome. Glad you could join. You want to see your beautiful red blue hair? Just look in the mirror. Look in the mirror all day, like narcissists. Drown in the sink. Loaded up on poppers. Hmm. Your hair is pink, so you guess that counts. Talking about yeah. The figure looks like a samurai. Yeah, I kind of saw that for a second too. I don't know. That after the art for Ghost of Tsushima, I wouldn't dare. It's too good. Like I kind of want to do a figure, but I just did a figure twice, three times. Bugs, I've done quite a few of. I don't want to do a full illustration. I just am not feeling it right now. So I don't know. Could just do like some goofy alien creature again. I don't know if you guys are getting tired of that stuff. I'm trying to keep it varied. We'll figure it out as we go. I'm not really sure. I'm just kind of following the shapes right now. So, I mean, I have, and this happens a lot. Like, I'll just kind of make little shapes and try and find something, and then, it'll refine into something else, and then that will give me an idea. And then I'll paint something else completely. It's pretty common for me. So I try not to worry about it too much and just kind of put together interesting shapes. The problem that I'm thinking about right now is that my camera has been kind of stale lately. So this kind of sideways, straight on, the old school magic card style. I'd done it for the last few pieces. Well, I guess the cyberpunk one, although I didn't finish it, it had a sort of higher level camera looking down. So I'm thinking maybe do an upshot. Do I do this to relax? I mean, yeah. It's just it's also if I don't have a specific assignment and I'm just painting just to like make something, and I don't really care what it is, then yeah, this is generally my method. And I've done it numerous times here on Twitch, just kind of exploring shapes and playing around. Something tends to come up. I just trust that I'll have something eventually. And since I tend to do a lot of figurative stuff, I'll start a potential composition or a potential painting with a figure focus, and then kind of figure out a story or narrative from there. So, and these things all stack on top of each other. So I'll start out thinking, okay, here's some interesting shapes. Okay, so these interesting shapes kind of made me think of this kind of monster. So now I'm going to kind of do this Naga type snake man. Okay, cool. I don't like the camera angle that I'm doing because I've been doing some of the same camera angles like crazy, and I'm bored with it and it feels stale. Okay, so I'm going to change the angle of the figure. I want it to be an upshot. All right. So what would be a good story that is fitting for a snake character to be upshot from below, and then hopefully, like me, your brain is already starting to write little stories or little vignettes in your head about what that might look like, what could happen in that scene, what kind of world that is. And that kind of world building is what I let drive the illustration. So when I have nothing at all in mind to paint, that's generally how I generate an idea, which is kind of follow the flow. I've done some pretty intensive illustrations that way too. Like I remember I did a few back on God of War, doing my just creature exploration and things like that. They started this way, so this isn't just something that I do just on my own time when I'm just fooling around. The system has value in just making stuff too. So I've solved kind of some of the shapy things to do with our figure, and I arranged him in the right spot, but he's not matching the perspective that I'd like. So I need to actually kind of start thinking about how that's going to work. One of the easiest ways to break down and just start thinking about how your perspective might work would be to insert a horizon line. I put it on a separate layer so that I can move it around and kind of see. The horizon line represents the eye level of your camera. The higher the level is on your image, that horizon line, the lower the character looks. So now it looks like we're kind of looking down at him just a little bit. And the easiest way to tell sort of, and the easiest way to sell the height of your viewer is by matching them to the height of the character that they're looking at. So the horizon, if the horizon's on the eye line of our figure, then we are as tall as the figure that we're looking at. And if you duck down, then it's lower. If the figure is up on a higher surface, then yeah, if we're up close, they're up high, and our horizon level is here, then yeah, we need to be looking more up towards them. Avid, welcome, hi. So this is, if you're struggling with your camera like I'm doing right now, then throwing in a horizon line and kind of just trying to figure out where you want this to be can help. And sometimes, quite easily, the horizon line may not be in the shot at all. Let's say this guy is really close to us. Let's say this figure is more like this. So here's our picture plane, and we're looking up. There's his head, there's his body, and we're like ant's eye view looking up at him, right? Well, with this, the horizon line's down here. We can't even see the horizon line in the shot. You see? And then, the snake body would be the biggest shape that we saw, because we're looking up, camera from down here, looking up at him. You see? So there's obviously lots of different varieties that you can do with your horizon line, but if it's a situation like we have where we're just kind of struggling to figure out what the shot is, what we're going to put in it, how we're going to compose it, throw that horizon line in there and move it around and see. I do this also with just simple character designs too. And once you have the horizon line, always remember that if it's wherever the horizon is placed, your ellipses of the figure need to work opposite that. So if it's down low, let's say he's where our camera is down low on the ground like this, then the lines on his body need to be, god damn it, what's happening here? So if we draw our point, our vanishing point, and it's coming up, right, then you need each ellipse to be more exaggerated, so that it gets closer and closer to the circle, because we are now below that thing. And it's just a good reminder for that sort of shit. So anyway, all of that blah blah, blah 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 blah, comes down to, I want him to be up high, and I think our horizon line maybe will be below him. So with that in mind, we know that we're going to have pretty extreme look underneath, and he'll be looking down at us. So that's going to change. A lot of things need to change now that we know this. Okay, so his tail can't be up high because it's meant to be on a flat plane as well. It's a flat, he's standing or slithering, I don't know, on a flat plane that we can't see the top of. I have not drawn in the plane, but I know that this is true. So that changes the parts of the silhouette that we can see. We may even only see the very top of this. It might be like something more like this. You know what I mean? So we have our, I'm going to set this to multiply so I can see it on top of stuff. Uh-oh. Ah, yeah. We'll leave that with our guy. Now we're going to set this to multiply. And because he's going to be on top of some kind of plinth that we can't see the top of, that means that I can paint it over him. I'll just pick a different color for now. Ah, shit. It was in the multiply layer. Okay. So now that I have a plane for him to rest on, I can actually start drawing and integrating him into that scene much better. Dinoto, thank you so much for that follow. Glad you could join us this weekend. You'd like to rename a layer? What would you like to name? What layer and what would you like it to be? Oh, sorry. I've done that. Don't feel bad. Go for it. What's the character layer? The character is split between the current layer I'm on, which is number 7, and number 3. One's the tail in the foreground, and one is the figure in the background. Okay, let's grab everything. Let's even grab our horizon line, actually, and drag it down just a touch. The alert is stuck. Hold on, I see it. Let me refresh the cache. See if that worked. Hopefully that worked. Having all sorts of hiccups today, huh? Hopefully we maintain. Okay. Sneck. Done and done. Okay. This kind of reminds me of a painting I did years ago for Magic the Gathering, which is the Sharoom the Hegemon, which is this Sphinx type character that I painted, and it's also kind of a low angle shot where these worshippers have come, or these monks or something have come to seek her guidance, and so they're all like bowing and scraping beneath her. So I'm thinking this might be something kind of like that, like a little. I don't know if I'll have characters. Maybe. It depends on how big I want this creature I'm creating to be. Let's switch back to our chonky brush. So all the while, even though I'm only working in Silhouette right now, I'm still doing world building. I'm trying to come up with ideas for a narrative, because the narrative is what's going to drive the thing. The narrative is what makes it unique. Otherwise, it's just a snake guy. So yeah, even in Silhouette, I can imply clothing, um, decoration, detail, armor, weapons. You know what why I think I went snake is I watched I think it's relatively new, one of the new, oh shit, true facts about animals. And the guy was talking about how snakes' tongues work, and that they actually smell through their tongue. And there's been I don't know how recent, but some discoveries that I didn't know anyway about how they actually use their tongues to sample the air and the ground, and how the different lizards work. It was really interesting. I like how he went from something that just was like just a total joke to actually being educational. And I'm fascinated. I love animal stuff. So it's a very interesting thing. I always do forearms. You know what it is? Also, I haven't done a magic card in at least a month, maybe two now. I just finally got some new assignments. It's been a while, but I'm kind of craving that, the silly and over the top fantasy thing. And that was always something that those illustrations, that was an itch that they always scratched. This is a great method of sketching. I've done one previous sketch with the character with a black pencil or something. You've done it, Dino, or you're asking if I do it? Oh, nature's totally an amazing place to go for reference. I love snakes. They can be cute, for sure. You're asking if I've done black line pencil for this character? have done one previous sketch of the character with black pencil or something. I guess I'm not really understanding the question. If I've done any just like rough pencil drawing for this illustration, because I mean you came in at the beginning. This is how I started. This one is just shapes, so there's no pencil line at all yet. Okay, I understand. No pencils yet. What I'll do, and this is what I did with the last big illustration, which I think is still below if you want to catch up on that one. And that figure, I just started with shapes and started carving them up. And then once I had some shapes that I liked, I went in with a pencil and refined the drawing of it and then painted on top of that. And then it's just kind of this back and forth between those two states. Okay, let's get our horizon back in. So what the horizon's going to do is it's going to help me dictate, you know, the curvature of this little mount that this guy's standing on. Standing? I don't know. What would you call this? Coiled. So that's above and then below. These are just little markers to remind me of the rough geometric shape of this thing. It's kind of like doing all the cross cuts. God, I'm completely forgetting my 3D language right now. Again, it's Saturday. Edge loops, thank you. Edge loops, yeah. It's making me think of all the edge loops. So I'm trying to kind of get that idea communicated so I have an idea of the rough three-dimensional shape of this thing he's sitting on. I'm going to add another layer, and this one's going to be another implied background. I want him to be kind of towering and intimidating. So I need to give him a nice big airy space for this part of his silhouette to really kind of command and be in its own space. So I don't want to fill it up necessarily with any values that are really close to it. I need that contrast. But that doesn't mean that I can't put details there. So that could be the sky, it could also be the top side of a cave, or it could be a castle, it doesn't matter. Ermagerd, welcome. You're a weird looking wiener. Jeez. That's all we paint in here is weird wieners. We're upsetting Irina. I'm going to use you, Irina, to protect the sanctity of the classroom. It's an inside outie. How silly and ridiculous do I want to go here? I'm feeling pretty ridiculous today. Let's do another in-between layer. I'm going to change the value just slightly. And I think this layer is going to be kind of a... Let's go a little lighter. That kind of stream again? Irina, haven't you realized that is the stream? That's what we do here. We are filthy monsters. You're not an output. Yeah, it's every stream. I know what I am. I'm a monster. I don't mind. Hmm. I'm gonna keep that in the background just in case. There's no real use for this guy. Actually, we might. Let's see. Let's This is the sketch from last session that I started. And let's grab this guy, throw him on here. See if there's anything usable. Ooh. You come here to make dick jokes and talk about Cyberpunk? That sounds about right. That's okay. Don't worry, Dino. English is my first language, and I can't English most of the time anyway. To troll the Izzy with the wheel of torture. I survived the last one. I made it more punk, more rock and roll. You're getting close to beating Cyberpunk. Yeah, I am totally sipping it. What I'm doing is, basically, I try to do this with all of these like open world games. I'm approaching it like full role playing style. So I'm not fast traveling. And as I encounter new things on the way, I just follow that quest. So what it does is it just spreads everything out. I'm only like 20% into the main game, and I've got maybe 40 hours in it now. But the cool thing is that I really like about what CD Projekt Red has done is they've made it so that the world is populated by lots of interesting moments. I had a completely random encounter. I don't know if you guys have hit this one yet, but I was walking around, I think in Neo Tokyo or Little Tokyo, and I walked past one of their food dispenser devices, and it had an AI in it, and it started talking to me. Have you guys found that guy? It's a completely random thing. It has no bearing to the game whatsoever. But they did that. They actually recorded voice and there may be a mission that comes down the line related to this. But I just randomly was walking around town, and from behind a dumpster, there was this voice saying like, hey, can you come help me? And I went over to be like, hey, what's going on over here? I went over there, and it wasn't a person. It was one of those food service things. And it was talking to me. That was awesome. That's so awesome. So, I don't know. I want to wring and juice all of that out of the game before I finish that game. I want to experience all the good stuff. I rode a roller coaster. The game is just great. It's so great. I feel so bad for that team. It sucks. Yeah, that's true. You get to start over, and you can do a second. You can do one of the other story prompts. So I'm doing Street Kid right now. I think my next one I'm going to try is Corpo because I have a feeling nobody does Corpo. So that's going to be interesting. That's also whenever I've played Cyberpunk or other Cyberpunk style tabletop games, I always avoided playing a Corpo. So I thought it would be fun to do something different. You didn't detour much on your first playthrough. I hear you. I feel like if you try to play it on your PC, it'll burn. Oh yeah, there's totally a fast travel, and it's a pretty extensive one too. Like you barely have to encounter anything if you don't want to. You spent 20 hours just fucking around after finishing the main story. Tellyb, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. You treated the first playthrough as a dress rehearsal. Nice. What do I think about the PlayStation taking the game off the store? I'm really bummed, but I understand it. I mean, you can't have faulty product on there. That if everybody is looking for refunds, just take it down, let them work on it, and put it back up again later. It sucks. This players don't understand what goes into porting a game from one console to another. So this whole cross-platform thing it's a monstrous undertaking, and it's so much more than just like copy pasting to a different system. And when you're talking about taking something that's really high end graphically and then cutting and dumbing it down for an older generation console, it's not easy. And usually it's not even the original developers that are doing that kind of port. It's another studio. So, I understand it. It sucks, but I totally understand it. And hopefully they don't take too much of a hit for it. I think they're doing the right thing, though. I mean, if you compare that with what Bethesda did with the with Fallout 76, was it? Where they just kept it out and didn't address things right away and just sort of were like, what? Huh? What? Everything's fine. And all the players were flipping out. I mean, yeah. To take it down seems more actionable to me. Work on it, fix it, get it back out there. Discount to the people that had already bought it. Fix that problem. You're not going to get a grip on most of the mechanics until it's too late to take maximum advantage. Usually I treat that as part of the gameplay experience, like the learning and accidentally putting points in things that don't matter, because that's kind of like how life is. So like I said, I've told you guys this many times, when I roleplay in a game like this, I fully commit to the roleplay. I just do the character as I think they would be played. And for me, that creating that narrative, being part of creating that narrative with the tools that they give me as the storytellers, is how I get the same experience, or what feels like a similar experience to real tabletop playing with my friends, even though I can't do that right now. Started Corpo last night. You're surprised at how much you like it straight out of the gate. Oh, nice. It's a shame how they pushed it to be launched. Yeah, I mean, fans expected a launch quickly. I think it might have been better to launch it in pieces. I know that not everybody would have liked that, but it would have been... I think it would have been more careful. And also, obviously, you can't charge the same for two totally different games. I mean, if one is way, way better looking than the other, to me, it doesn't seem reasonable to charge the same price. But that said, I think that all games they should charge more for games. Like, I think that for a game like Cyberpunk, it should not at all be unreasonable to charge, $80 or $100 for a game like that. There's so much work that goes into it. And in order to make that worthwhile, that's a lot of work. I feel so bad for the artists. They just got screwed epically by the execs. Ultimately, the execs screw the artists because the fans and the players will not change how they perceive what a game should cost. Completely ignoring the fact that, like, we easily go out and pay, 40 or 50 bucks to go to the movies with friends, you know, snacks and all that stuff. And that's like a 2 hour or 3 hour experience. 4 these days, if you're lucky, right? And if it's good. And then you make a game like this, and Cyberpunk is easily going to be responsible for. I'd say I could probably finish that game out with 400 plus hours, no problem. Call of Duty Warzone, we were just talking about the hours. We're estimating that like 1,200 hours in the last year. That's insane. That's an insane amount of content for 60 bucks. So, I mean, as players and consumers, we're going to have to rearrange our expectations for content versus the price of that art and the development that goes into it. It just has to change. Otherwise, the execs are constantly going to be taking that money back out of their employees. It's just going to happen. They made 5 games, not 1. Yeah. It's because everyone treated CDPR like this infallible bastion of artistic integrity without considering how the company has evolved. Yeah, I mean, there's externally how the company runs and things like that evolves it. But I mean, the company's evolved, the art, the demand for the quality of games have evolved, the demand for the amount of content has evolved, the price point has not. And that's why you're going to keep getting things like loot boxes and pay-to-play stuff, like and pay-to-win formats. What they're trying to do is trying to find another way. It's kind of like Facebook. It's the same thing. Facebook or Twitter or any of those sites where you're getting something for free, but you're not getting. It's not for free. You are paying for it. They're just going to find another way to monetize. If you just paid for your news, like you pay for a newspaper, you pay for those things, then they can afford to give you that stuff and minimize trying to find other ways to get cash out of you. That's not to say that they're always going to do that. Consumerism, capitalism, they're all scumbags in the end, right? But I think it would make things a lot smoother if we as players and consumers were more reasonable with what we're getting. And rant. Obviously, it's something I'm passionate about, both as a developer and a player. They're not a tiny indie studio anymore. They weren't a tiny indie studio when they did Witcher either. You heard they're making X packs for it already. X packs meaning expansion packs for Cyberpunk. Ubisoft will hear me. At least it's not No Man's Sky, which needed more time to be what it's set to be, but they just fixed a way after it was already out. Now it's actually a good game, but it has a bad name to it. Yeah, that happens. I know that No Man's Sky, they had it basically as like an open beta for a long time. And it's one thing to leave it open beta and build from there, but yeah, once you actually start charging, you got to have a finished product at that point. This is all easier said than done, of course. There's so much that goes into this, guys. It's really true. There's a lot of heads involved. Yeah, if a service is free, you're the product, 100%. They still had that indie cred when they did Witcher 3. Yeah, but they were not indie at that point. I mean, to do Witcher 3, especially at the quality they did it, that's AAA game studio stuff. 100%. Yeah, I hope so too. But yeah, Ermagerd is probably right that they won't be compensated for the trouble of taking it back. Yeah, it's a conundrum. Faux show. Let's get rid of this a little bit. Come on now. So a dark fuchsia Snake Emperor. Why not? And we'll leave it as it is for now while we figure out the rest. Okay, so we figured out the figure. Figure's kind of, we got an idea. Here's our foreground. We'll group it just to keep things easier. I don't know if I want to stick with that gate or whatever that was meant to be, but let's go ahead and figure out the background. It's easy, easy, easy to build out from the back. Guess you mean indie in the bare sense, for the studio is also the publisher. You don't know how the game industry works, but this reminds you of the Sonic movie situation where 3D artists basically remade the whole movie and weren't paid extra. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they'll be paid. It's just not going to be... they're going to be crunching constantly to try and get that shit done. Oh, I know what I need. I'm going to see if I can find a reference. Okay. I think we have a pretty good opportunity here to do a sunrise. I think that might be cool. And that's going to push us into some colors that I haven't been doing traditionally in the last several episodes. So let's see. Let's do a new layer. So by framing, I'm basically setting up the sky, right? I want the sunrise to come from the left, relatively for the moment. It'll be the right in a second. What I'm doing is offsetting with a darker sky behind him. And that darker sky behind him is going to allow me to light him as though that light is raking from the right. So he will pop real hard against that darker sky. Gonna look sexy. Gonna look nice, real nice. Do not like that brush. That brush can eat shit and die. Thank you for the follow, Tree of the Void. You and all the ant folk are welcome here. Okay, so we've got a rough sky for now. I might go in and add clouds. I'm avoiding them now because I think the clouds might create too much contrast and visual noise behind him when I really want the brights that are going to hit him to pop real nicely. And they need to pop. The way they'll contrast the best is generally against a dark, more flat or soft gradient rather than a bunch of sharp lights and darks. Okay, so then now I got to decide what this distant background is going to be. So whatever's down here, I need to know that he's going to, or this stuff back here is going to be lit by the sun as well. I don't know what it is. Could be forest, could be, I don't know. Seems to be I'm leaning towards forest, but maybe something with a little bit of structure might be nice. Give us some scale. Have I thought about doing it in a desert? I did not think about that. That's not a bad idea, actually. Hard to go wrong with the mountains, but you could do something more arid. There's snakes in non-arid places. My goodness. You climatists. Thought the sun will be behind that mount. No, the sun is far to the left, and it'll be lighting him. It'll be raking light across the front of him. But I'm not getting to that yet because I need to figure out what I'm trying to do here. Let's see, we can do arid. I have done a couple desert scenes in the early Twitch days a couple months ago, but yeah, we could probably do like a little desert sequence. Might be nice. Fox Blue 10, thank you for that follow. I'm glad you could join us today. Said I could go arid. Oh. But I gotta troll you back, see? That's the key. That's where the spice lives. And also, it wasn't a bad idea. So, we'll stick with it for now. And I'm having fun playing with this brush. There's a section of the Oregon coast that I am super fond of. It's pretty far to the south from where I'm at right now, and I've done a couple of paintings of that area before, but there's basically these coniferous forests in the dunes. So there's these massive sand dunes, just like you'd find in any desert. And it's almost like 2 or 3 miles of sand from the beach all the way inland, and then there's forests dotted inside these little pocket forests. It's the coolest thing, but I've only ever really seen that here. So I might do a pocket forest style dune. So we're getting a little bit of both. We're getting the dune, the aridness, but also we're getting kind of some cool tree action. This brush is not very conducive to making trees, but we'll go with it. Big shapes, and then we can refine later. It's not a big deal right now. Maybe this has kind of got more of a, what's it? Hyperborea, the Conan plane. Okay, so we got this, that back plane. Let's see if we can mess with the values just a touch. It messes up his scale too much. Lale Art, or Lael Art. Thank you for that follow. Welcome. Soften that edge a touch. Well, been following your work for years, part of your Patreon for a while too at the start. Oh, awesome. Thanks. Oh, that's really great. Glad you could join us today then. How cool. Hope you're doing well. No complaints currently. I'm painting a snake boy. The worst part of starting a new game is losing your leg implants. Have you found yourself really dependent on the double jump? Thanks. Delighted. Makes you feel like a true transhuman wonder. Oh, you can't see the mantis blades in photo mode. That's hard. You know, I was when I first played way back, tabletop Cyberpunk, I always got the mantis blades. So I purposefully chose not to do them this time, and I went with the monowire. And let me tell you, I am not displeased. It has been pretty fun. Yeah, the monowire is great. Also, it fits a corpo lifestyle pretty hardcore. The mantis blades are very street, Sam. How are we doing on time? Okay, we got an hour in. I'd say we got another hour just to hang and paint together. Hopefully you all are painting too. Or drawing. Okay, let's do a couple more pops of light in the background, and then we'll move to the foreground, because really that's going to be where all the magic happens. Through and get rid of some of these brushes, y'all. Wrong, y'all. You're like 40 hours into the game and just discovering how amazing crafting is. You can craft ammo. Yeah, the crafting's been pretty interesting. Um, I ignored it for a long time, so I ended up with a shit ton of crafting components, and I ended up making all of my cyberdeck stuff by crafting it. So I got a whole bunch of new apps. My demons. That's another thing. Like I said last time, I've avoided the entire time I've ever played Cyberpunk in the past. I've avoided playing a Netrunner because one, it kills the flow of the game when you're playing tabletop. Because for you to do your part, usually the GM will kind of segregate you, and you end up being in a different game than the other players. That was always my initial reason. But also just like learning a new mechanic was always a pain in the ass. It was so much easier to just run around and punch people and shoot like everybody else was doing. But man, CD Projekt Red has made it very fun to do the hacking bits. And because it's single player, I guess I don't feel so bad spending time focusing on that. You're pinning a D&D sample to send off. Awesome. Good show. Can't wait to see that. You got the second monitor, Arena. Nice. It is a game changer, isn't it? It makes all the difference. Crafting's one of the things you overlook the most. It's a big reason you went ahead and started over. Really? Yeah, I'm definitely doing more of the grind. You crafted healing and grenades. I'm totally the kind, like I buy, or not buy, but I collect, grenades and healing items and things like that. I'm totally the potion banker. I just hold on to it until the end of the game, saving it for some better moment, but it never comes. So I'm purposefully trying to use stuff, but they supply you with so much. It's kind of hard. Like I still haven't run out of grenades or anything like that. I haven't needed to craft any. They're everywhere. Jimmy Draws. Procreate lurking a butt working with me. Oh, you're on Procreate. Nice. That's awesome. I love Procreate so much. I've been working with it a lot lately. Okay. So that's that bit. Let's do... We're doing a lot of transluminosity here. A lot. So see how I'm lighting up this part here? I'm playing lights against darks. That's the game in this one. I want to be able to see the dark sides of the figure contrasted against light stuff, and the light sides of the figure contrasted against dark stuff. And that's what's going to give us the drama in the scene. Fun fact, the best clothes are all after level 25. Really? I'm not even close to that yet. I'm at level, like my street cred is around there, like 23, 24, and I think I'm level like 15 or 16. You look like a doofus for so long. Dan Rob, welcome. Thanks, glad you're digging him. The stash is 80% clothes. I ended up just cleaning out the stash. I just sell everything. When I first started, I was just collecting unique versions of every item, but then I just stopped. I got tired of it, and I ended up just numbers running. Since you can't see your own body anyway, I was just like, eh. Yeah, the clothes design in the game is great. The clothes and the vehicles, like all of it, they've really managed to make it feel like this retro futuristic cyberpunk world. I think they did a great job with the art direction on that game. I'm really impressed. Oh, there's totally stuff in there I'd love to wear. Those jackets, the pants, the cool headwear. I would love for it to cause a resurgence of the cyberpunk style. This kind of reminds me a little bit of California, like mornings over by the mountains, San Gabriel Mountains. Kind of dry brush, sunrise, a little bit of smog in the air. The current playthrough, you're refusing to wear a hat because you like your hair. Yeah, I'm. The only hats I wear are the ones that completely get rid of the hair because yeah, it's changing my hairstyles, and they're pretty ridiculous. The ones that they switch to. You're playing on hard, so you're actively handicapping. That's a good way to do it. I think I'm playing on the second hardest. Whatever the top one is, I'm right below that. Because also, I just don't have time to grind. Growing out your hair from chemo treatment and still pretty short. The game is giving you ideas with what you can do when it grows out. That's awesome. Also, congrats on the chemo treatment getting through. That's great. You're going to do some cool dyes or some crazy shaves? I love the hair. Another show that they did the hair really great was The Expanse. I love how they did the cyberpunk hair in that too. It's so dope. Red due to transluminosity? Yes, kind of. It might be a little bit too dark, so I'm going to let it sit for a bit. But the way I'm thinking is that the light's coming through the branches of the trees and picking up the local color just a touch. And I wanted to really hint that the light is really, really warm. Oh, the highest is very hard. You think the game is overall pretty easy? Yeah, I mean, if you go in trying to game the combat system, it's really simple. Like, the AI is dumb as hell. Um, the only thing that's tough are the other net runners. Okay, we played enough with that. Let's do mid ground. And what this midground, what we're doing, we're not going to break the value key that we've got established, but what we are going to do is try to establish a little bit of color, or not color, sorry, detail. I am trying to keep in mind my my horizon line. You got some overtone in purple and pink. Oh, nice. How long is it now? Is it really short? Just a couple centimeters? Chemical hair dyes are linked to cervical and breast cancers. Jesus. So much stuff is. Those are the really common ones too, right? Oh, man. Keep in mind that the horizon line in terms of the ellipses and just in general, like understanding that we are looking up towards a hilltop. So what I'm trying to do is imply sort of steps of hill structure. It's what I look for in painting, like especially this kind of landscapes, is something that I used to notice when I was a kid, and I've often thought about this years later now as a painter. But when I was a kid, I was really really good at tracking like small animals, things like that. I grew up when I was born in Southern California, but I moved up to Central Oregon when I was like in my I was still in the late single digits when I moved up to Oregon, and I lived on a ranch for years. I lived in that area for years in really, really rural country. So I would wander around out in the forests, and I'd wander around in like all of these, hay fields and things like that. There'd be cows and horses, goats, chickens. Like I grew up around that stuff, like the real farmland for quite a while. And one of the things I noticed when I was younger is when I wouldn't focus on things, I could see the trails of the animals. And I didn't understand why other people couldn't see them, but there was a pattern in the tall grass and things like that where if you weren't focusing on it, the color would be just slightly different, and I could just see the tracks. And I think that probably that's one of the things I think about a lot, is that maybe just that tendency for me to look by not looking is one of the things that kind of made painting a little bit easier for me over time. But anyway, the reason I wanted to mention the trails is because I look for that in paintings, is that kind of those little slipstreams of of rabbit trails and things like that that hint. And that's what it looks like. It just looks like these little lines that zigzag through fields. And if you ever end up out in a rural area, try it. Just defocus your eyes a little bit, looking out into the grass, you know, kind of lean back and forth and see if you can see any lines kind of lining up. And that's animal sign, yeah. White male protagonist hair. You feel like Nathan Drake, badass. Well, I'm glad it's growing in, and you can do whatever you want with it now. That'll be fun. These little animal highways. Rabbits make really good ones. Yeah, rabbits and deer are really easy to track. So here I want to kind of bring this back. I want this to be low shrub instead. I love this raking light. And this is the raking light you also get, you know, golden hour light. This is totally golden hour light. But morning, we're doing the morning version of it. This really raking, rich, high saturation color. The important thing is to make the cast shadows from the objects that are being lit work. So this is meant to be kind of a little hillock that's coming upwards a little bit and picking up just a little bit of this light before it hits this backward rim, that distant lobe of the meadow. And bothering with these little details is what helps us generate scale. So middling scale, distant scale. Because I've been painting for my my day job project, it's kind of a fantasy game, and I've been practicing my environments in it. And I'm not an environment guy. I try, but it's just not my focus. So I'm trying to bring some of the things that I learned in that here. I don't know if this path really needs to come back around the front side of the hill. I don't know, maybe not. I do like it. Like I said, I like to see paths that kind of lead you into illustrations. But if they're kind of really over the top, you know, they're a little too in your face. They don't give you that same feeling of reward of kind of discovering them. awkward. Wishing you a speedy recovery. Yes, absolutely. Let's grab that one. I love you, Dead Can Dance. I love Host of Seraphim, but I can only hear it so many times before I want to shoot myself in the face. You're almost in the clear, cancer-free, just a couple more months of relapse prevention, and you're in remission. That's great. Okay. So I need to do something with this mid foreground right here. And I'm not sure how I want to do it. It needs to be more detailed than what I've got in the background, but only just because, again, our money shot is the guy, is our Naga. So let's see if we can do kind of a cool brush detail here. And what I need this to be is actually kind of behind, where's our lit ground here? That's you. So we're going to drag this behind that because I need these cools to be behind that really bright orange. And what this is going to do is we're trying to make the feel of the ground swooping back up towards us. We're doing the same thing, just kind of trying to hint at a little bit of depth, get a little bit of that the change in elevation visible. So you make kind of a rough fill, color, and texture, and then we will go in on top of that and refine with like a simpler brush that will give us a more detailed, a little bit more detailed break apart. Got lucky as hell, caught it early, responded ideally to treatment. Awesome. Yeah, that's really great. Oh, this all happened in 2020 as well? Oh my God. It has been a year. Erasing back out to create warm patches of grass. Right. All right, let's grab a small brush, something detaily. See if we can pull off some stuff here. Let's get rid of our horizon for a moment. Let's get rid of our figure for a moment. Let's go a little bit brighter, a little bit cooler. Yeah, we're doing some rakes. I always like the rakes for background stuff, for grasses and cool shit like that. So this grass is meant to come up closer to the surface area where we've got our really lit, bright grass. So again, we're trying to make this transition in space and that this change in a dip. I've done something that I always do. I have managed to make a bunch of equal shapes. There we go. Just changing up that depth a little bit. Diagnosed in 2019, started treatment almost a year ago to the day. Hot damn. Martian on Jupiter. Hi there. Saw your art on Instagram. Just started watching the stream for the first time. Awesome. Hey, glad you could join us. Thanks. We're FB friends, so might have seen the announcement a few months ago. I'll be honest, none of my friends show up in my FB. It's super random. People that I haven't talked to and businesses are all getting like top notch in my feed right now. And honestly, I've been avoiding it basically since just before the election. I've been trying to like lessen my Facebook engagement because it's all shite. So I did not see that. I'm sorry. Okay, that's a start for the background. We might go back and do a little bit more, but if we had to stop, it's good enough. So let's group the background. Let's do some rocks on our little rocky face here. And then we will build up into the character and maybe we'll have a good start for the next session. We're about an hour 45 in. You've given up reading FB feed 3 years ago. Best decision ever. Yeah. Fair enough. Ermagerd. I check the FB wall maybe once every 3 or 4 days now. Like I've really gotten good at ignoring it. I used to check constantly and now it's just kind of like bleh. So fair enough. More time, less stress, and less comparing. Yeah. Cypher deleted it a couple of months ago. Best decision. Don't miss it at all. Awesome. Yeah. I've also dropped off of Instagram pretty harsh. I'm still on Twitter pretty regularly. And honestly, like the majority of my social media comes is this now, and then updating on YouTube. That's enough for me. I don't really need to do much more. It's just too much. Okay, let's get a. I want to get that chonky brush back. Where'd he go? Ooh, I like that one too. Okay, okay. What you got, buddy? What you got? Let's see here. Ooh. Oh yeah. Yeah, talk dirty to me here. Let's warm it up a touch. Cool. What an interesting thing. It's like a weird gradation. Yeah, these are new brushes I just picked up, so I'm trying them out. Just get to scribbling them, get the lights in. I know that it's going to be raking, so that means that the shadows will be really long. Instagram's owned by FB, and for that reason it's problematic. Yeah. Let's see. Let's do this. Warm shadow, cool light. That doesn't really make sense. We've got, maybe we need to see what the lights look like on this rock right now. We can definitely go cooler, I think. Maybe even more blue. I don't know. I think I want the figure to have the brightest pops. So maybe this is actually still in shadow down here for the most part. That might be the better way to go around it, about it. Yeah. Okay, let's figure out this shape then. Light source coming from there. Are these Kyle's brushes? No, these are a free set of brushes that I got off Gumroad. The guy's name is George something on Gumroad. They're free. Look for realistic oil brushes, I think. I can find them and post the link later on the Discord if you're interested. There's a few really good brushes in there, I think. I'd say two of them contributed pretty significantly to this. This is one of those brushes right here. Yep. I don't think any of these are working for this. Snaky bits. So, you know what? I'm just going to trash that whole layer. I'm going to start again. Let's cool this off significantly. Let's try this instead, and just try and light chunky shadow side versions of the rocks. Remember, I think what I was doing is I was forgetting that the rocks are meant to be in perspective. So we're going to be seeing the broad side of the rocks, not so much the top of the rocks. My horizon line. So any lines that are on the horizon line, perspective-wise, will hold straight. They'll just go flat across the screen. And then as things kind of tilt up above the horizon line, they'll angle down towards it, and the opposite for angling up. Yeah, honestly, think pieces in general, politics, games, whatever. Just let us enjoy our shit. And life is too short, man. If anything, COVID's taught us that, right? Yeah, brushes are unnecessary, but like I said, after I had the big crash, I've been trying to find the brushes that I had because I just gotten a new set that I really liked. I still haven't found them, but I found a couple of other things that have been pretty good. And this guy's brushes are not bad. Some of them have, with a little bit of tweaking on my end, I think that they're pretty solid. Yeah, this is one that I tweaked just slightly, and I'm pleased with it. All right, let's see how our guy looks on this. Okay, that's a little bit better, yeah. Okay, so because the snake's body is now basically the whole rock and everything is going to be in shadow, and I'm going to probably have the light beginning right around his waist, or maybe right at that transition between snake and man bits. I can let all of this stuff be just sky lit rather. And so that means that I'm not going to have really deep raking shadows here. So that solved the problem of the lines that I had in that last sketch I did for the rocks. And that means that we can just use sky fill for lighting. And I think we can amp up the satch just a bit. Especially on the back side features where they're not going to be picking up any light from the sun. Let's go a little bit brighter. Okay. Oh, God damn it. Huh. Am I sticking to Saturdays all the time now? Yes, that is my plan, is to make the Saturdays the regular thing. So Saturdays would be when I would be doing your guys' crits if you guys wanted to continue to support on the Patreon. I have a feeling, depending on how it goes, I think the way it was before, having the standard of having it be new paintings kind of prevented just being spammed with stuff to look at and give crits to. That's one of the things that I'm struggling with right now with my my daytime job. One of the jobs that they've kind of given me is to do training for the concept artists, because this is the company I work for is huge. It's like a global, international, connected set of studios, and they're all service studios, so they all have concept artists, but the concept artists tend to not be specialists, or they're not really pushing themselves. So I've been meeting with them for several weeks, and it's tough because no one wants to do new work. They're all showing me, and because I'm stuck there, I can't do anything about it. It's part of the gig. They're just showing me old paintings and things like that, and it's like, okay, well, this is stale as fuck. There's no information that I can really give you on old paintings. So it just ends up it ends up feeling like just talking, just blabbing and saying the same stuff again and again, which is what I didn't like about teaching in the first place. I want to encourage as much as possible everybody to be painting and drawing more. So if you want crits, great, I'm happy to help. It's just I don't want it to be stale stuff. So I don't know. What do you think? Like, what would be a good price point for that to ensure that people are motivated to actually churn out stuff and get that help? These are pretty uniform colors so far. I'm gonna have to go in and mess around with the hue, but at the moment, all I'm doing is trying to just model the rocks, god damn it, and get them to make sense to me. I also don't want to depend too much on the textures of the texture brushes, which is what's happening right now. Is it's very texture dependent to give it that rocky feel. Something I tend to do a lot. Let's get rid of our horizon for a little bit. For 2069, nice. Motivating people is the hardest part. It always is, especially with teaching. Oh, the Z bolts? No, I'm definitely going to have to alter that too. They're doing some kind of new thing. I didn't really look into it, but there's going to be some new gamification they're doing, which is going to completely ruin the time currency. So I'm going to have to change the pricing on everything. I might just disable it until I get that figured out. But no, I mean for Patreon. Dan Rob just finished a brainstorm class that was $650 for 10 weeks, and half the people didn't even do the minimum assignment each week. Yeah. So that's the other part of it, is like I don't want people to feel like that's what's happening to them. I like to try to have everybody come away happy, but I also don't want to waste my time on people that are not interested in actually improving. I have a very limited amount of time on the planet. I want to make sure I spend it either helping people that really want it or doing stuff that I love to do. I ain't here to fuck around, y'all. That doesn't really make sense. I may have to get rid of that little splash of orange there. Just mask it out for now. Maybe we'll bring it back later. Right now it's causing me too much difficulty with the efforts I'm making right now with the rock. I think another problem is that there are no rocks in the background, so this kind of feels weird and out of place. So I may have to take a pause here on this foreground rock and just dig in a little bit more on that background. Background! Yes, I mean actual money. cipher per tier for patrons. You can't afford 650. Yeah, I don't want to do 650, especially for just a crit. Like, we're just talking about a single crit where I just go through a painting, and like we have been doing. But I also want to discourage just randos coming at me. I want people that are actually interested in getting better. That's where this always kind of becomes messy. Am I thinking much different from the prices before? Yeah, more than $10 for sure. You feel some kind of high point bucket versus straight spending $650. Well, the point bucket, if you're talking about the Z bolts don't actually have any monetary value. They're just, you're being rewarded for just the time that you actually spend watching the show with me. And it's to encourage you to hang out, and it's to encourage community engagement and things like that. It actually doesn't pay anything. So the Z bolts on their own are not they're not a system for hooking me up at all. Don't know enough about Patreon to give good feedback on that one. I don't know. Could always make it a specialty thing where someone applies to be a mentee instead of an all-comers welcome. Probably wouldn't be a Patreon thing though. Yeah, probably not. I could do Peter Hahn's method where he's got basically like a Shopify or something like that, and then he sells classes per term. No, Patreon doesn't have it doesn't have Patreon bucks or anything like that. It's just straight cash for service type deal. Let's go ahead and do real quick a bit of lighting on the figure. And what this will do is give me kind of a frame of reference what to do with the rocks, because I'm kind of stuck right now where that's going to be. So knowing exactly where my brightest brights and all that good stuff, this is that time where it's a good idea to start hinting at it. So we're going to get in there and just start painting the implied lighting that's on him. Whatever. You want to say 60 would be a fair price for a crit, but can't decide how thorough it would have to be to make it worth the time for both parties. Yeah. Oh, no, it would definitely be more than 15 minutes. I mean, as it was, I was doing more than 15 minutes per usually. I mean, if it needed it. Sometimes it was just finished and didn't really need anything. You'd love is like a ticket you can buy, then you act as art director and give an outline to work on and approve a thumbnail and review the final. Kind of like, wait. Avid, you're going to have to walk me through that. That might be something interesting. Clint Serially has his artmentor.com website where he's got a schedule set up and does 1-hour calls for $100. There's enough time to get feedback on multiple pieces, or some people just do portfolio reviews, Q&A. Okay. Yeah, that was the goal. We were going for this moment right here. What you're seeing is the payoff for the whole build of this painting, Ermagerd. You've actually bought the Clint Searly Challenge, the $100 mentor. It was pretty good. You did one too, Dan Rob. Does he do anything particularly different from my paint over crits? Ignore me. I got a hangnail. Ow. This is what all that setup was for with the background. I don't know about this headdress at all. It's just kind of a silly thing I threw in, but we'll leave it for now, and maybe as we go into the next session, we'll figure out the body and finish out that part of it. I think we could probably get away with a little touch of, oops. So see how the light's raking across? All of this down here is in cast shadow, which implies that there's something in front of him here that's just blocking a little bit of that sun. It could be trees, it could be more rocks, something like that. You like the orange and teal? Yeah, orange and teal, you can't go wrong. It's a great color combination. The paint over is the same, it's just open-ended, so if someone wants something different, then they can ask for that instead. I just want it to be valuable. And then also the other thing is I wanted to minimize the amount that I'm doing preparation and setup. This is why I wanted to stop filming the episodes, because editing and doing and planning and all of that was taking so much time, whereas I felt like everybody was getting way more out of me just doing the crits. So, or at least doing the crits with the videos and support. And I can keep doing the videos, and there's a ton of videos that you can go back to. But I felt like the crits were going to be the big thing, and I can do them the same time that I'm doing the Twitch. So that was always kind of, once I started doing Twitch, I was like, this is what it has to be. This is absolutely the way to go. And it just felt right. So either way, I think what it'll have to do is be doable on this format for anybody that's interested in getting that kind of critique. I think we can pop that value even more. Let's do that. Let's do saturation instead. Hue saturation, make it brighter, more saturated. There's going to be a peak. Like there's a point where you can only get so much brighter and you lose saturation. It's very difficult. Yeah, I'm gonna have to lean towards saturation over brightness on this one. Did you tell me about the argument you got into with a friend who was complaining how there weren't any books on how to study art properly? No. Do tell. Get us in on that one. Yeah, that's the juice. Okay, so that's a start. We could, let's see, we got, oh, we're over by 17 minutes. I think we can leave it then. Let me real quick kind of. We're definitely going to do some opacity runs and actually draw out this figure a little bit more completely. Just little notes for later, maybe little swirly patterns or summit. Oh shit. I don't know what happened here. It happened again. God damn it. There we go. That's right. Who got that booty? He do. He gonna have that booty and them cum gutters. Boosh. You kept trying to figure out what the hell that means, and he just kept repeating it instead of explaining. You got really worked up. You started lecturing him about not using clear language, and it went off the. That's rough. Do I prefer to use Patreon because it does tax stuff for you automatically, or is it just simple to set up and expand? I prefer Patreon for the simple setup and expansion, for the simple management. Admittedly, that management was a little bit more necessary when I was actually giving out regular rewards that involved an episode. It's a lot easier if I can just send everybody a folder to the images that I painted that month on Twitch. So that will probably be the case. In terms of the where the payment goes for the for crits on their own, I can definitely say that Twitch is not a format that's going to have that kind of setup. So even with their subs and all of that, that's not going to equate out to what would be necessary. Yeah, so if not Patreon, I'm fine with any other format. Like, could be ArtStation if they do that, or Gumroad. I could talk to Pete about his Shopify setup and see if I can just do a classes thing. What I like about Patreon is that it's an ongoing subscription system. Honestly, that now that I'm thinking about it, that's what is good. Is like it's a no muss, no fuss subscription setup. So if you're subscribed, we just meet all the time and it's all good. No muss, no fuss, right? So if there's anything that is subscription based like that, then that would work. That's pretty much it. I still don't know what he meant by that. Snake duty with the booty. So the crits on Twitch will no longer be available with Z-bolts. They will be, they'll just be for much higher. like I said, I'm going to have to revamp all of the Z-Bolt currency pricing because they're doing some kind of gamification, which is going to make it way less valuable. Basically, they're causing some kind of inflation. I don't know what their plan is with that, so it will be disabled for a short time. But the crits, I want the crits to still be available for people that have watched for a long time, and so that there's reward for being part of the community, and then also as a taste of what it would be like to be a patron and getting that every week or every month rather. You're collecting? You might as well do it now. Yeah, I believe I set all of my pricing for that stuff way too low to start because one, I didn't really know how it works, and two, I just didn't. I mean, honestly, it's at this stage I'm such a low number draw that it's not really that big a deal. So it's not like I'm going to be drowning in crits yet. You spent too much on the dang art direction wheel. You've almost 30K and had no intent on spending. You'll never get there. The temptation to spend them on the wheel of art direction is too alluring. Oh, Ermagerd. That's awesome. I'm glad you're on here for your trolling. Is it priced at 30K? I don't even know. I don't even know what the pricing is right now. No, it's 12 at the moment, 12K. But it is going to be going up to that range so that you're spending, I don't remember exactly what, I think you get like 1,000 an hour or something like that. So it's real, you build it really fast. Yeah. You're not only a troll, you've got more in you. Yeah, 12K you could get a few. Like I said, it's super easy. Like, Cypher, how fast did it take to get to 12K? Have you noticed that? Oh, I see. I see. Yeah. Okay. So the consensus for the Patreon for a monthly crit is more than 10 but less than 60, right? Is that what I got? That's the gist. Yes, it must be a new finished painting for me to crit it. That's true. You did a bunch of stuff, Cypher. Excuse me. It used to be 20. Okay, so between 20 and 60. Okay. I mean, I don't think 20 is too bad. But for an hour, that's like, yeah. I'm painting. So with the Twitch, I'm painting anyway. My hourly is like, my hourly tends to be between 110 to 180, depending on the different clients. So, and I don't want to, you guys are students, you're learning. I'm not going to be using concept costs on you guys, but I do want it to feel like you're getting a good amount of time, but also like if I'm going to derail from painting and just doing whatever I want, that it's worthwhile as well. So some kind of happy medium. Got 3 paintings ready. Awesome. Have you been posting the paintings in the Discord? I haven't seen them lately, Irina. $20 is absurdly good. I thought that my pricing for Patreon was insanely good, and I really thought that with good pricing like that it would just draw people in, and it didn't. That was my experience. So after 5 years, I mean, like I'm looking now. I just saw, what's his name? Not Crypt Crawler. Yeah, Crypt Crawler. He just announced a Patreon where he's doing crits and he's got a private Discord, and yeah, his is blown up. Like, so I think mine was just around for too long, and I maybe priced too low. My crits tend to go a lot longer than like just 10 minutes or 15 minutes. They're usually about a half an hour. They're secret for now. Okay, that's fair. You thought it was a steal, jumped on as soon as you saw critiques were included. Yeah, I thought so too, Dan. You need to learn this. I think 60 for a half an hour for 100 for an hour, and an hour. 60 for half an hour and hour, or 100 for an hour is a great price. 60 for a half, 100 for an hour, I think is what you're saying. Yeah, okay. Something to think about. Yeah, that was confusing, Abbott. And I'm simple as it is. I've only got one cup of coffee in me, and it is just about empty, which means it is also time to say goodbye. Save. We will come back to this on Monday. We will be doing Mondays and Tuesdays, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I'm going to continue attempting to do the weekends. Saturday, ideally, before 12. I'll start before 12. We just had a little bit of a hiccup today because I had to restart. But yeah, let me know if that's working out for you. You guys definitely stop in on the Discord, say hi. I will be broadcasting throughout the month. If there is a holiday day that's going to run contrast to that, I'll let you guys know in the Discord ahead of time. But I'm just going to play through. That's how I roll. I don't really do holiday stuff too much. Yeah, happy holidays, gang. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves, learned a little something today. And yeah, stop in on the Discord. We'll hang. And I will, like I said, I will continue to be broadcasting throughout the holidays. So no biggie. So we'll see you on Monday, 3 p.m. Irina, thanks for coming out. I know it was a chore. It's late for you. All right, gang. So take it easy. Until Monday, paint smart, paint sexy. I'm Izzy, a professional writer, concept artist, and illustrator. I've taught painting for a dozen years or so, on and offline. Many of your favorite illustrators and designers have studied with me or under me and have gone on to teach in their own right. You're here because, like they did, you want to learn to paint realistically for illustration or concept art. Well, worry not. You're in the right place. Grab a seat. I want you to join me as I explain all the aspects of image making in extremely digestible and clear monthly lessons. Not through the lens of silly how to paint hair or eye demos. That shit is carnival tricks. And you're not really learning anything except an exact way to render one thing in one manner. This is painting mysticism at its worst. Watching these kinds of exploitative lessons won't help you level up with your understanding. Sure, now you can paint sparkly hair, but what if you want to paint a dragon, or figure out how to render a sea of fire, or depict a one-eyed transgender space marine dying in the vacuum of space? Painting and image making are tools of communication, and can be learned by anyone willing to put in some time. Like grammar is for language, light, color, and form literally follow a formula. Painting well is not a matter of chicken bones, zombie crackers, and the ever-dismissive concept of talent. Learning with my series, Izzy's Logic of Light and Color, will give you the tools and understanding so you can analyze light and form in reality and bring it to life in your work. Using this simple system I have distilled will help you harness your art to share your ideas as you've always intended. When we are children, we all draw in symbols. Symbols for our house, our hands, the sun, the grass, our pet lobster. As we grow into artists, we must learn to throw away symbols and begin to draw and paint what it is we actually see. And as we grow further, we learn to paint beyond what we see and what is actually there. Until finally we move beyond this and learn to trim away what is actually there so we voice only what we want. With me, you're going to have to buckle in and maybe take some pain meds, because I'm going to rip out your normal person's eyes and replace them with a painter's eyes. I'm going to restructure how you see and how you understand what you're seeing. I'm going to turn you into a painting machine. Truly, anyone can learn to paint realistically. if they can both determine what they're seeing or imagining with basic and straightforward rules. Once you understand the mechanics of light, color, and form in reality, you will have the capacity to paint anything you can see or imagine realistically. After that, the real fun begins. Here are some of the ways you can join me and master the logic of light and color. The very first lesson of my series is totally free on my YouTube channel. In that lesson, I give you the 3 primary rules of light that are the very foundation of painting and understanding light itself. If you do nothing else to make your painting mastery easier, at least watch this amazing little lesson. It will do more for your basic understanding of light than just about any tutorial you can find. When you're ready to get deeper and you feel like you have those first rules figured out, allow me to utterly blow your mind with the next episodes available on Gumroad and ArtStation. As we go deeper into the rules underlying the logic of light and color, I carefully and simply explain important and interesting elements. From beginner to pro, there is an amazing amount of information available. Each concept has been distilled into the clearest explanation you're likely to find anywhere. Like episode 2, where we cover the atmospheric effect and how that relates to light, scale, and distance of objects in reality, and how to render it. Or episode 3, where I hand over the ultimate key to controlling value in your paintings. Episodes 5 through 8 are all about rendering materials. Want to understand the logic behind rendering metal, leather, hair, transparency, damn near anything. I even cover the logic behind painting special effects like fire, neon, or lightsabers in later episodes. The lessons just get deeper and more detailed as I build on the foundations covered in preceding episodes. The 10th gives you the most important rule of composition you'll ever learn to keep your images interesting. The next few episodes cover important painting techniques like my edge control ninjutsu or simplification with the large to small system. We dip a toe in color theory, devote a few episodes to finishing full-blown illustrations utilizing the techniques we've learned so far. Some episodes, like the lighting game or Advanced Exercises 1, the shirt, present cheap, valuable, and practical exercises to give you explosive growth in your development. Episodes 22 through 25 cover painting and illustration just like I do for Magic the Gathering, from assignment and inception to signing the painting at the end. Each one is full of tips, knowledge, everything to make working as an illustrator easier. Did you enjoy learning how to paint basic materials? Metal, wood, and such? I got 3 whole episodes devoted to the intricate logic behind painting different kinds of skin. After that, more lessons devoted to pumping life into your portraits and original methods for accurately drawing faces out of your head. From fundamentals to photo bashing, Gumroad and ArtStation have every lesson I create available for purchase a la carte. But here's an even better way to learn with me. Stay current with my latest lessons on Patreon for the lowest price available. Monthly support gets my student that month's lesson, a critique or paint over of their finished work, a discount code for 25% off the entire Gumroad archive, and access to the Logic of Light and Color Discord community, where we plan future lessons, share knowledge, and learn together as a team. The absolute best method is to join my Patreon classroom at the Student Plus tier, where you'll get everything I just mentioned and a free episode from the archive every month to accelerate your mastery at your own pace. You've decided to take control of your painting and master Izzy's logic of light and color. Now it's up to you to choose the path that's best for you. I'll see you on the flip side. Paint smart, paint sexy.